And so, secret number one, context. Context is everything. It is not what you do necessarily in your world, in your life, in your affairs. It is always the context from which your actions arise, from which your actions are motivated. It is the context. Two people can do the same thing from a different context and will have a different results because the motivation, the context is different. So context is everything. And so with everything that we're going to explore this evening, please keep in mind the context that we're going to establish at the beginning here that will make what we discuss in detail very potent and powerful for you. So context is everything. I'll give you a quick example of that. Now, you see that word clean. Now, if I say that word clean, or I can say that word clean. Now, same word, the context is completely different. The former may have indicated that you needed to clean, and the latter may have indicated how good you feel because you have cleaned something or your space is clean. So it's the same word, same 5 letters, but the context is completely different. And so this is why context is so very important with regards to dissolving anything, transforming anything in your world and in your life. So the very first thing in context here that we want to appreciate is that you have a brain. Now that may sound like a very simplistic statement, but what I mean by that is that you have a brain. You are not a brain. You have volition. The brain is just the means by which your volition is carried out, is processed. Now the brain also absorbs things, and from what it absorbs comes our conditioning. And so when we were examining earlier, why would you be resistant to some of those wonderful things that you have indicated? It is because of the conditioning. You haven't been conditioned, but the brain has. This is very important here. There is a difference between you and the brain. The brain does not have volition. You will not do something unless you tell the brain to do it. And so there is a difference between you and the brain. Now, this is very important because if you'll notice what it says where the highlight is there, the brain cannot change itself. One of the reasons why you find it challenging to change habits, to stick with programs, to stay with commitment, is because of not being aware of the fact that your brain is just a instrument, if you will. And if you're waiting on the brain to make the changes that you desire to experience, then you're going to find that that is slow in coming, if you will. However, if you appreciate that you, being the one that has volition, is somewhat independent of the brain that you're carrying there, then you can decide that I am going to reprogram the brain as opposed to thinking this is who I am based on what the brain's thought is. You can decide that I am going to change what the brain has been conditioned to think. And so this is going to get even clearer here as we continue to explore. And so the setup that I've been explaining to you here is that it's really underestimated. You think that you are your brain. You think that you are whatever you're thinking. And the reality is that you are witnessing your thoughts. So when people say, I'm thinking, or don't disturb me because I'm thinking, the reality is don't disturb me because I'm witnessing the thoughts that are occurring. I'm going to say that again. Actually, what someone means when they say, don't disturb me, I'm thinking, or hold on a moment, I'm thinking here, what they're really saying is that, hold on a moment, I'm witnessing the thoughts that are occurring. And the reason that this is not semantics, the reason that this is a distinction, if you will, is that when you are aware that you have a brain, you are not the brain. You have a body, you are not the body. When you are aware of this, it makes all the difference in the world when it comes to reprogramming and making change. Most people are trying to make change from the vantage point of thinking that they are their body.